So, what do you think, Mr. Wright?
I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all,
The victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time, and a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed.
I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning.
We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So how'd it go? It's as Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana! Don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Skye. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Bloodstained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Skye? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright.
Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared.
Yeah, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car.
Wow, this is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today, I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself.
Now that's what set Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself.
And that's supposed to be an admirable trait? Very well, let the trial resume, although I still don't know if the prosecution is ready. All I know is that they're On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer?
Oh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go.
Will the witness please state his name and occupation?
Yes, sir! I'm Officer Mike Meekins, sir! My occupation is that would be murderer, sir!
So you're telling us you're a professional killer?
Sir, it was me, sir! I'm the one who did it! I'll never kill anyone again, sir! You've gotta believe me, sir!
Actually, what we'd like to hear from you is...
Sir! I'm what you would call part of the younger generation, sir! A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend!
Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Help me, sir! How old is Meekins? Okay, he's only 22. Okay. Officer Meekins!
Yes, sir!
Give us your report of the crime. Consider that in order.
Yes, sir! As you wish! After all, I'm part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir! You can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm.
You can fault him for the destruction of my vocal cords.
Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day.
I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed him to the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you. Do unto others before they do unto you! That's what the Beacon's family motto is, sir. I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir! He knocked me upside the head, sir! Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need here is more info to work with. And a lozenge. Alright. So unfortunately for my vocal cords, we need to press every statement. Hold it! Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir! I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir! Yikes! Now there's a scary thought. Evidence transferal was taking place on the day of the crime, which means many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir! The lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir! I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir! I see. Sounds like a very, important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? Also, why did you move it into a room that we just established is for, like, whatever. Hold it! In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir! I have one right here around my neck! So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? There it is! I found it! This one right here! Could you please read us the number without the megaphone? Yes, sir! It's 4989596! That's my number, sir! I see. Huh? But the number 4989596 is shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness. It's no real mystery, sir! The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room, and the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see. So it was during that second time when... Yes, sir! That was when I spotted the man in the security screen! I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir! I don't even need to read these again. I'm just stuck. Mike Meekins is taking over. Hold it! So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir! A knife! Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you. What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was! You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir! I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him! That's how I got this gash on my hand! Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked! I grabbed the man by his collar! Hold it! What exactly do you mean when you say you did it? I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. You took his knife. I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. I see. He must have been desperate. The next thing I knew, his white coat was stretching a sea of my blood, and then the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir! About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious! Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head, too! I woke up crying tears of pain! That's nice. It's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came through, I made sure to finish my mission, sir!
Your mission?
Yes, sir! The Blue Badger, sir! I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand!
Well, we can all rest easy now.
I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened.
Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? Excuse me. He's got a point.
Yes, Officer Meekins.
With regard to that, sir.
Take a look at this! It was sent to my jail cell! Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir!
The chief? Delivered it? What is that? A videotape?
Yes, sir! That's an absolutely right, sir! A videotape, sir! It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room!
Objection! What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir! It's the only thing I'm really good at! Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim.
Oh, please stop using that word murder, sir! It scares me!
Also, please stop sounding so excited to watch a snuff film. A video of a real murder. Just what are we getting ourselves into? I hope you like this video and this song. If you don't, you're gonna have fun with this case. Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood?
Sir! That is the pride and joy of the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir! It's the Blue Badger, sir!
Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Yes, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter, someone in the evidence room, and some sort of, activity did take place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that all right with you, Officer Meekins?
Yes, sir! As you wish, sir!
His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir.
I mean, he opened the locker, which requires Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir! So it must be him! No one else could have unlocked it!
What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean
The victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination.
I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. On the fifth statement, you can either press him and then choose there's a problem, but you can also just present the videotape here.
Objection!
Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange.
Strange?
This contradiction leads to the possibility that
the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction? Objection!
Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal.
Yes, Mr. Edgeworth.
I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. He would want me to point it out.
Very well. Proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of.
Okay. I have to point out a problem in the video. This is the first time I've ever had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. This is the right thing. My attorney's badge. I just accidentally examined this. I didn't mean to even open the court record.
Please don't play it too many times! I can't stand watching this video!
How did this guy ever become a cop?
Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman?
Once we get over to this side of the room, take a look at that. This light is lit up despite the fact that, like, none of the other ones are, which implies that it's already unlocked.
Take that!
The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Meekins.
Sir! Do you mean me, sir?
As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. Oh my fucking god, they had to play this music here, huh? When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match, the light turns on and the lock is released. I see her in there. Don't think you're slick, game developers.
According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir.
If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind to a little earlier. Are you starting to see why nobody likes this trial? Here, notice the light.
What's this? It's already lit.
Precisely my point, Your Honor.
The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Ah! Order! Order! What's the meaning of this?
It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime.
Objection!
But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered. And the locker is automatically locked.
Oh, I know, it must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this.
That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction.
Oh well, it just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation?
Me, Your Honor?
Yes, why wasn't the locker locked?
Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field.
What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator?
Huh? Oh, maybe something, like, jammed the system sensor?
Something jammed the sensor? Say, there's something else that seems out of place in this video.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Why can you read my mind?
There's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage.
Very well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked. Mr. Wright, please point out the cause for this.
Fast forward. Now we're fast forwarding. When he opens it, this comes falling out.
Take that! Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker. But sir! It's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened! I often fall out and roll great distances when I open my car, sir. We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? Oh, this trial sucks. This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir! It's just like my tie! 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes me! But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator. But at the crime scene, there just might have been something that fits the description. But sir, by insulator, you don't mean... I think I finally got this figured out. Very well. Will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker door?
He just so happened to have a rubber glove.
Take that! I found this near the locker. A thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker, but that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is that not so, Officer Meekins? Sir, it would appear so, sir! Order, order, order! So are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? Objection! Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir! Me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh! You mean that, sir? Of course, sir! Is this a joke? Very well, begin your testimony. There's one other thing that proves that man was Detective Goodman, sir! To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card! An ID card record. I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 514 is that of the victim. Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases.
Special cases?
Extremely violent cases involving police staff.
You have a specific room for that? Also, this is what I meant earlier. Why the hell did he move the Blue Badger into that room? Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end.
Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. And now let us move on to the cross-examination.
All right. On the second, third, or fourth statement, we want to present Goodman's ID or the lost item report. I think the lost item report actually makes a little more sense to present here.
Objection!
Wait one moment, Officer Meekins.
I'm not good at waiting, sir!
I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene.
That makes sense.
When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card.
A lost item report. It's only half completed.
But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card.
Order! Order! So now, what does this all mean?
It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card.
Order! 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 Does the prosecution have a response?
I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright.
Bravo?
Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is, well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Well, well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove.
Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth.
The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime.
So
the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon.
Ah!
I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning.
The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, This trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana...
What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Objection! One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? The cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Isn't this fun? However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand.
Mr. Wright, do you mean...
Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh? Whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify. I'm old, give me a break. What is his or her name? Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess.
There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What do you mean?
You were missing a comma there. You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you've figured everything out.
I haven't figured anything out.
Lana? You're the one who knows everything! Emma. You always know everything! Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me?
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
Sorry, Detective.
You better be, pal. Hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky!
That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked?
Oh! Oh! You mean this, right?
My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request.
My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy.
The SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them.
I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, were a witness in that case.
Miss Skye was a witness?
Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders.
Let's read. Incident number SL9, closed. Perpetrator Joe Dark, crime, serial murder, sentence, death. Victims Edward Jones, Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, Jason Knight, Rachel Moss, Neil Marshall. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, witnesses Lana and Emma Skye. Executive investigators Damon Gant and Lana Skye, head investigator Bruce Goodman, investigators Jake Marshall and Angel Starr.
Oh, what? Now while I've brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me?
Emma? But why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, the SL9 incident... Is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark... No. No, Lana. That's over with. No!
Emma, wait!
She ran away.
You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here.
Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you, you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I'd better take a good look at this file.